Hello and welcome to round 3 of the 2018 Formula Virtual World Championship here from Shanghai, China. My name is Downton and I'll be joined today not by Harry Westwood but by Nick Forrest.
Hello again, Bradley. It's great to be back.
Let's take a look then. The drivers will be racing around 56 laps of this Shanghai International Circuit today. The winner last time out was Nathaniel Powers for Downton, his first win in quite some time that was. Can he replicate it today for his first win of 2018? Lap record held by Timo Kinnaman set in 2015, but let's take a look through the grid. On pole position, in a shock turn of events, we have Olin Inman. His qualifying pace has been absolutely nowhere thus far, but he starts at the head of the field for this one. Adrian Simon alongside. Inman and Simon are both on the medium tyres. On the second row, we have Enrique Ruiz on the mediums. Klaas van Schnelheid starts from 4th. He is the top driver on the soft tyres. On row 3, the two Ocelots, the first of a number of rows of teammates. Yoshida is ahead on the softs. Giordano will start in 6th on the mediums. Row 4, Alar Kanga leads Nathaniel Powers. Softs for Kanga, mediums for Powers, but he has quite a way to go from 8th to replicate his victory from last season. Completing the top 10, we have Timo Kinnaman and Will Hoskins, two Holmqvist. Kinnaman is the lead driver on the hard tyres. Hoskins will start on the softs for this one. Row 6. John Matson and James Vazquez, the two Ingrams, both of them are starting on the hard tyres. Matson just pipped his Colombian teammate in qualifying yesterday. Row 7 is another pair of teammates, Carl Beckenbauer and Finn Schneider, the two Westwoods. Beckenbauer on the hards, Schneider on the mediums. The two Westwoods will be looking for points for only the second time this season. Row 8, the two North Stars, Johan Halverson and Judson Sykes, both starting on the medium tyres. Once again, Halverson is pipped Sykes, the driver who's been at the team longer there. Row 9, the two Lopez, Victor Osberg and Elroy Wagner. Osberg ahead for what I believe is the first time, but it was a very, very small qualifying margin, both on the mediums. Row 10, Carson Davenport and Sergio Alvarez, the two Phoenixes, both of them starting on the hard tyres. Davenport ahead of Alvarez, but the Argentine driver getting close in only his third race. Row 11, we've finally got someone different. Felix Bayer and Felix Perez in the AMR and the first respectively. Bayer starts on the softs, Perez on the mediums. Row 12, we have Jules Simon and Sebastian Vauquelin, the two Meteors. It's better than a back row start, which I believe Simon was last time. Both of them are on the soft tyres. And completing the grid here in China, we have Dmytro Kovalenko in the AMR on the softs and Alexander Zolya on the mediums, two Ukrainians at the back. So as we go down to the grid then, we have Olin Inman on pole on the right. Adrian Simon is second on the left. The lights go out now and we're racing in Shanghai. It's a good start from Simon. The Frenchman already up and alongside his former teammate Inman as they head into someone. Inman sweeps around the outside and retains the lead then. Simon is into second. Ruiz holding third, but Klaas van Schnelheid is attacking on the softer tyres. Is Klaas going to be able to go around the outside of turn 2? No, I think Ruiz is going to hold on. He is. Klaas settles into 4th. The top two already breaking away up front.
That's right, Inman seemed to get away from the line really well. Simon already had up the inside of him, but he managed to hold the speed round turn 1, and it looks as though he's going to be okay from here on out. Yeah,
as that's Hoskins then on the exit there, out dragging Nathaniel Powers, and the reigning world champion has lost a position on the opening lap here, down to 9th.
Well, I forget what tyres Hoskins is on, but if that is the softer tyres, we could be seeing some shaking up of the order in the early going.
Yeah, I think Hoskins is running on the softs.
That'll be one to keep an eye on then.
As Puccio Giordano there coming under pressure from Alar Kanga, and it's looking already then in this opening lap as though the softer tyres are already providing the drivers who are on them with a lot more grip.
That's not perhaps what you'd expect with the track temperature so high, but perhaps it's the just hooking things up a bit better, as we've got a move going into the hairpin, several moves. Yeah, that's Klaas trying to go around the outside of Ruiz, but nothing doing. And Kanga couldn't quite get Giordano either, but I think something has happened behind. The two Ingrams have swapped position. James Vazquez up into 10th, past John Matson. That's really good hard but fair racing from the teammates, as we've seen quite a few times throughout the season already. They had quite a good scrap in Australia, didn't they?
I think so. I'll be honest,
well,
I can't remember yesterday.
That's fair enough, but they've got Pinneman for company as well, and Beckenbauer and Halverson just behind them, so perhaps a bit of a train starting to form.
Yeah, meanwhile, up front, it seems as though the top two are breaking away. Inman and Simon have gapped through East slightly.
They certainly seem to have. Perhaps Rees is a bit busy defending from Klaas van Snelheid behind, but Inman not able to shake Simon in the early going. Be interesting to see how he fares throughout the race.
Yeah, it certainly will. I think we've seen in the two races we've had so far prior this season that Inman's race pace has been, well, considerably better than his qualifying pace, to put it politely, shall we say. But yeah, wow, yesterday really came out of nowhere for the Monegasque to take pole position, and that'd be interesting to see if we can hold on to this one, as the two Westwards are battling with Johan Halverson.
I think this is Halverson trying to make some way up the order, but the Westwoods playing the team game quite well. You notice Beckenbauer coming across to cover him off on the inside, and that allowed Schneider back through.
Oh, sorry to cut across, but up into the hairpin then. Adrian Simon down the inside of Inman, and Inman's lead has gone.
And Klaas van Snelheid, meanwhile, getting past Ruiz as well, so both Franklins falling victim to moves at the same corners. The two Ocelots go side by side.
Yeah, side by side through the final corner. That's a brave call. They're still wheel to wheel though, and they've got Alar Kanga behind, looking to take advantage of any potential errors. Oh wow! Giordano braked early there, and Kanga swept around the outside of turn one.
Well, I'm not entirely sure how he managed to pull that off, but Kanga able to get the place. Well done him. And they've now got Hoskins and Powers joining the fun as well.
Yeah, brilliant move there from the Estonian, as up front Simon has already gapped Olin Inman by 1.2 seconds in the opening sector alone.
Goodness me, well, he managed to pump in the fastest lap last time around, so how far can he stretch this out, do we think?
Yeah, now what's interesting, obviously the two Franklins on the mediums, Simon on the mediums as well. The only driver in there amongst them is Klaas van Snelheid, who is on the softs. So Klaas will be desperate to make these moves and get to the head of the field, because you'd imagine he'll be making more stops. But he's going to have to build a lead if he wants a strong result here.
Well, I'd certainly imagine the soft tires would be stopping more often with track temperatures so high, but he seems to be hanging onto the back of Inman relatively well. Not exactly losing the
You say that, but he's in the slipstream now.
The guy down to the hairpin. Could do.
He absolutely has, and well, that was easy as you like really for Klaas, wasn't it? As Kanga looks to get the traction on the outside of the hairpin on Yoshida, and he's got him into the final corner. Fantastic overtake once again from the Estonian.
That was very good racecraft by the DS Malashore driver, which seemed to be lacking a little bit in his debut season last time round, but certainly has come a long way.
Yeah, he absolutely has, and as I say, his qualifying has been improving this year as well, which was his real bugbear last year. Still needs a little bit of work, but well, I think he'll take 5th place on that 4.
I think he will do, moving up the order and paying DS Malashore back for having faith in him for the looks of things.
Absolutely. Is the next one, the two Ocelots seem to be slipping back then. The next one to challenge them will be Will Hoskins in the Honquist on the soft tyres. Behind them, Nathaniel Powers hanging onto them on the, I forgot what tyres I put him on. Mediums, I think.
The mediums, okay. See, I would have expected Powers to be a little bit further up, although on the mediums, I think his pace is relatively solid from the looks of things here, managing to hang on to the back of Hoskins quite well.
Yeah, seems to be, as Klaas up front has got the gap down to around a second to Adrian Simon, so he is definitely closing in on those soft tyres.
Yes, soft tyres definitely looking like the tyres to be on in the early going, but as you said, we need to wait and see how many stops they make.
Yeah, what have we got going? So at the back then, it's Alexander Zolio. Kovalenko's made a place past Vokolin, but oh, it's down the inside of Enrique Ruiz goes Alar Kanga. That was tight.
that was ambitious, shall we say, but fair play to him for having a go at least.
Yeah, absolutely, but he was very much going for a gap that was always going to close, especially on Ruiz.
That's true enough. The Brazilian, a very hard but fair racer, and good job for both of them getting away with it though.
Yeah, very much so. There's interesting note, none of the fields so far in these opening laps have had any kind of calamities, so all of them running within about 25 seconds thus far. Very clean.
Oh, very clean in the early going, definitely. And, well, he might have just jinxed it, though. We've already seen that happen a few times.
I usually do. Here we go then, on board with Klaas van Snelheid through the middle section. You can see visibly how much he is caught and closed up on Adrian Simon. And, well, you get the feeling this is only going to be a matter of time.
You certainly do. Those soft tyres definitely seem to be giving him so much more grip through the sweeping corners. And can he get a run on him down the long back straight? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, here we go then. On to the long back straight, and let's just take a listen to that V10 in the back of the Downton. I suppose exactly the same car in the DS Master, but can he use the slipstream to his advantage?
It looks as though he can do. The gap's coming down. Is it going to be down far enough?
Yeah, he's down the inside. Klaas van Snelheid, does he do it? He does. Klaas van Snelheid takes the lead here in China from Adrian Simon. And now the Dutchman has to build a gap.
Well, he's got faster tyres. We saw how quickly he closed in on the Frenchman there. Meanwhile, at the back, we've got the two Ocelots here, still behind Kanger, who hasn't really been able to shake them so far. Yoshida going for the inside.
Oh, was that contact there?
Well, I think they just about got away with it.
Crikey, Rai will be on the pit wall. Never mind chewing his nails, chewing his fingers off at this one. This car's running so close together, but solidly in the points at the moment, two Ocelots.
They certainly are. I think you might have probably taken that over last year, though. Although,
Oh, definitely.
Given the podium in Australia, though, he seems to be a little bit more ambitious in the early going here.
Yeah, but it's strange, isn't it? I was just thinking this the other day, actually, wandering through the paddock. In Australia, Giordano and Ocelot themselves seemed so quick as... I was wondering when this happened. This was Powers going back past Hoskins then. It was into and out of the hairpin, and fairly straightforward for the reigning world champion. But yeah, I was just thinking this to myself. Ocelot seemed to have so much pace in Australia. You know, in that Giordano was able to challenge, well, nearly for the victory, and certainly strong contention for a podium. But since then, they seem to have dropped back behind the sort of so-called top three, shall we say?
I think that might be accurate, but it's not entirely unexpected, given it was the first race of an entirely new formula for Formula Virtual. And Ocelot just stole a little bit of a march on the rest of the field, perhaps, and the top three gradually have been able to get more on top of it as we see the two Westwoods going into the hairpin line astern.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I suppose we always say, you know, Australia, Melbourne, it does throw some unusual. It's not a comprehensive view of the running order, is it? Shall we say?
I think that would be a fair assumption of it. So Ocelot, not exactly a false dawn, but they've definitely got some pace in the car.
Oh yeah, more so than they've ever had before.
That much is true. Already, I think, what was it, 9 points over the last 3 seasons, and they've already more than doubled that.
Yeah, I think so. As this is Kanga challenging Ruiz through the middle sector. You'd be brave and or stupid to make a move anywhere through there. Be interesting to see if anyone does put it off at this race. But yeah, Kanga really seems to be all over the Brazilian now, and you'd hope so. He is on a softer compounded tyre. He needs to make this move sooner rather than later.
Well, we saw Klaas van Snelheid get past Inman and Simon quite easily, I thought, early on. And you'd expect Kanga to be doing roughly the same on the softer tyres. And here we go, could we see another move down into the hairpin?
I think... Oh, there's contact there! Ruiz comes across, drifts across the track to try and defend. And Kanga, is he going to make the move still out of the hairpin? I think he is, yeah. But I don't know what Ruiz was... maybe if he just wasn't looking in his mirrors or something. But he drifted across the track and there was contact between the two. And that could have ended in tears.
It could well have done, rubbing wheels like that. I think Ruiz was just expecting Kanga to yield, perhaps, but the Estonian having none of it.
Yeah, and Kanga then up into 4th place, and Ruiz now has to defend from the two Ocelots, Powers and Hoskins as well.
That they do, and Yoshida, I think, is on the soft tyres as well, from the looks of it, at least on the outboard camera.
Yeah, I think
So
he is.
we could be seeing another move relatively soon.
Well, Ruiz will be hoping not.
Well, I can imagine not. You don't want to be losing positions to anybody, really, but Brazilian perhaps playing the long game here.
Yeah, absolutely. Is up front, the gap between the top two is about 1.8, 1.9 seconds. So Klaas pulled out quite a gap initially, but seems to be just struggling to eke it out further since. And in fact, Inman looks as though he's putting Simon back under pressure.
We could well be the Monegasque. Perhaps he's had a word in his ear from Jimmy, given his previous performances. But Klaas van Snelheid, he could just be managing the tyres. We saw that last time out in Japan, I believe, where he took that fantastic victory.
And here we go. Inman down the inside at the hairpin. And is Olin Inman going to take second place back from Adrian Simon? Simon is trying to hold in, but he does. Inman is back into second.
Fantastic move there, right at the hairpin. We've seen a number of moves there already. It looks like we could see even more throughout the race, but I don't think this move is perhaps done and dusted just yet. Simon goes to the outside. Inman moves over to cover him, though.
Yeah, meanwhile, behind the two Ocelots are looking really feisty behind Ruiz, who has fallen back slightly from Kanga. But yeah, Inman putting in a solid performance once again so far. He was told to improve his qualifying. Well, you can't get much better than pole position. And now he's running second.
With only Klaas van Snelheid ahead of him on the softer tyres, and we assume they're going to have to make more stops.
Yeah, absolutely.
So could well be in the pound seat for this race.
Yeah, seems to be so far. He just needs to keep that that train behind him, doesn't he? As we see Nathaniel Powers not really making an awful lot of headway at the moment.
It doesn't seem to be the case. I think he's just content to sit behind the Giordano at the moment and not take too many risks.
Yeah, it seems to be. There's a massive gap now has opened up then between Hoskins on soft tyres in 9th and Vasquez and Matson, two Ingrams on mediums in 10th and 11th. Those tyres really, well, I'll say they don't seem to be working so far, and they have quite a train behind them. As on board with Simon then, into the hairpin. Is he going to take second back from Inman? I think he might do. He's down the inside. Surely he's going to get the traction on the exit, and indeed he does. Simon is absolutely not having that.
Well, I don't think Inman was quite expecting it, given how far back Simon came from, and they are on the same tyres. But, you know, an eye for an eye, I suppose.
Yeah, and all this time, and all this battling is allowing Kanga to catch up, and Klaas up front to escape the gap now, up to 3 seconds.
That's exactly the kind of gap that Klaas is going to want. I think, did we just see him flash through the corner there, or was that one of the marshalling bollards? I can't quite tell. Both orange. Yeah, he's just there in the distance, just disappearing off the screen as we get into the corner. Yes, but you can definitely see how much Kanga's closing up to the squabbling pair up ahead.
Yeah, he's really making use of these. There's a little bit of understeer there, it looked like, with the Estonian. But yeah, he's really making use of these tyres. And well, you say he absolutely needs to. You'd imagine in these 26-degree temperatures, we're probably not too far away from the first round of pit stops. Simon goes heavily defensive there. That's going to massively compromise his line onto the back straight.
Well, you say that, but he's going to have the inside for this turn 12, I think it is.
Oh, God knows, I don't do turn numbers.
Mind you, Kanga's got a good drive as well, so we could be seeing another position change.
Are we about to see 3 cars go side by side? Inman pulls out on Adrian Simon. No, Simon might just be about to lose 2 places. Inman is down the inside. Kanga is trying to go wheel to wheel with his teammate as well, and I think they just avoided contact there. Inman takes second. Kanga holds station in 4th. Meanwhile, behind them, Yoshida has demoted Ruiz to 6th.
Well, can you keep him behind though? That's what we want to see. And I think Giordano, well, I thought I saw some movement on the timing screens on the left, but I'm not too sure now. As Yoshida moves along to cover the line into the corner. Yeah,
what is going on with Ruiz? Obviously, I know he's on the medium tyres, and those that have gone past him are on, well, primarily on the softs, and therefore will have more pace. But like last time out in Japan, he just seems to be plummeting, really.
Well, he does seem to be sliding back a little bit. He's got a roughly 3-second gap to his teammate. But as you said, he has had quite a few moves on him, more so than Inman, perhaps. And I definitely wouldn't count the Brazilian out of this race just yet. You never can.
Oh no, absolutely. You can never count Franklin out as a
That
as a
much
team.
is definitely true.
They could arrive in Melbourne with the slowest car, and I'd still put them in with a chance for victory.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, I suppose. But yeah, they definitely showed a lot of strong form in testing. You've got to imagine it's only a matter of time before they pick up a victory somewhere.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely, they have to. Really, it's we've not seen. You know, we're into the 6th season now of Formula Virtual, and as Inman looked to be wide there, and Simon went for a late move. Don't think it quite pulled off. No, Inman's still in second then. But yeah, so this is the 6th season of Formula Virtual now, and in all of the previous 5, Franklin scored at least, I think, 3 wins. No, last year, at least 1 win.
At least 1 win. They did win in the first race, didn't they, last year in Australia?
Yes, but then that was it.
Island.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, for some reason I was thinking 2016 was the season where they'd had fewest victories, just because I think that was the latest in the year they picked up their first win of the season.
They did. They slipped back a little bit in the early going, and then from out of nowhere, there was Elroy Wagner won 3 on the bounce.
Yeah, that absolutely was.
That was a surprise if ever there was one.
Mexico, United States, and Portugal, I believe.
I think that may be accurate. I'm not checking at the minute.
So, as we see back up front then, the gap between Klaas and Inman is about 4.5 seconds, the lead gap, should we call it. Simon and Kanga all over the Monegasque, and behind them, there's about a 1.5 second gap back to Yoshida, who is trying to gap Ruiz, but seems to be just struggling slightly. Obviously, I'd say that Ocelot's probably not as quick. As meanwhile then, Adrian Simon down the back straight, goes back down the inside of Inman. These two keep swapping places, and it's it's all playing into Klaas's hands up front.
It would certainly seem that way as they still squabbling into the final corner. Oh, goodness me.
That was tight as Kanga's vanished. Oh, Klaas is in the pits. Kanga's in the pits as well, so there we go. They've only managed 12 laps. This now for the lead then. Inman swept around the outside of the final corner. I don't think I've ever seen an overtake then on the inside, never mind the outside. So that really came out of nowhere as the top 2 on the soft tyres and Hoskins as well behind them into the pits.
So where are they going to exit? That's going to be quite an interesting thing to watch. They're going to drop out. Well, Klaas gets out in some clear air with Johan Halverson behind him from the looks of things, and Kangur is all the way down in 15th.
Yeah, that really hasn't worked fantastically well at all, and Kangur is right out behind Beckenbauer, so he's got traffic. They now have to find their way past all of these drivers on the hard tyres.
Well, I was going to say that could be challenging, but we've seen how quickly they got past the medium tyres. So perhaps they could be making moves earlier than we'd expect, but that locks them into a relatively comfortable 4-stopper. So how long can the medium tyres last for?
I'm glad you worked. I was still trying to calculate that in my head going, I have no idea, it's too early.
Oh, no worries at all. I'm a maths kind of person, I suppose. But the gap at the front starting to close up again.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much 6 for the lead, isn't it? Really? I don't know. Oh, Ruiz late on the brakes, and there we go. Klaas van Snelheid already disposing of Finn Schneider, who's actually on mediums then. So that's 1 place gained and up to 10. But as Powers goes past Yoshida. Off screen, just noticed on the column on the left. Oh, Yoshida's pitted. I'm just wondering at what point the gap between Simon and Ruiz closed back up.
I'm not entirely sure, because Ruiz was braking very late into the hairpin. He was quite lucky not to run into the back of the DS Madishaw driver, I thought.
Yeah, as Klaas van Snelheid being pushed to the outside by Timo Kinneman there as he looked to get past both the Finn and Hammers Vasquez. This is going to give Schneider a run to get back ahead potentially. This is absolutely not what Klaas needs. Meanwhile, behind them, Kanga's made up all sorts of ground and he's up to 12th.
Well, that's fantastic work from the Estonian there. He needs to get through this traffic pretty quickly if he wants to close back up to Klaas van Snelheid, who very nearly got boxed in there as Kinneman and Vasquez scrap away up ahead of him. But back at the front, Ruiz is still sticking with Simon and Inman.
Yeah, it seems as though his, well, I don't know, his slight lack of pace earlier in the race has very much vanished, and Ruiz now fully back on it, I suppose, as you'd expect from the Brazilian. Giordano and Powers slightly further back, but still holding on, and I mean, that looks fantastic, doesn't it? A train of 5 cars for the lead, 4 different teams, as out then pulls Adrian Simon down into the hairpin, and Simon takes back the lead.
Or does he? We saw Inman sweep around the outside of the final corner, but I don't think he's close enough to pull it off this time. But I definitely agree with you. The top 5 separated by, well, around about 2 seconds. We've got all kinds of moves going on up the back straight.
Yeah, unseen by us, Klaas has disposed Schneider, Kinneman, and now Vasquez as well, and he's up to 7th place. That's quite a climb in 3 laps. 1 lap, sorry.
It definitely is there from the Dutchman. He's really getting a shift on, as is Kangoo, who's just shifted past Johan Halverson for 11th.
Yeah, as
Hoskins pumps in the fastest lap.
Yeah, you beat me to that one there. I was just about to. Well, that came out of nowhere. But then I suppose, well, I mean, he's on fresh soft tyres, as are admittedly Klaas and Kanga, but they are fighting their way through traffic at the moment.
So perhaps Hoskins, it played into his hands coming out with a bit of a gap as we watch Puccio Giordano, who's starting to close in from the looks of things on Ruiz.
Yeah, well, Hoskins is only just over a second behind Kanga now, so it's working quite well indeed for the British driver. As yeah, on board with Giordano, sat in 4th at the moment and harassing Enrique Ruiz.
Well, can he close up to him on the back straight here? Although Ruiz is going to get a tow from Inman as well. Is everyone going to close up?
Let's have a look as they head into the... Oh, Ruiz goes for a late move on his teammate. Very, very close to making contact there, but I would say they exit the corner line astern. Not quite, because Ruiz is still trying to get past Inman. But yeah, they exit as they entered then. Simon still leading as the 2 Franklins look to go wheel to wheel down the main straight, but Inman, for the time being, is holding on to 2nd place.
Meanwhile, Simon's escaping a little bit up ahead. He's got a gap of a second now, and Giordano and Powers as well, all over the back of them now.
Yeah, there we go, as Klaas van Snelheid in that clear air, pumps in fastest lap, and I think he's just got back up. He's back up to 6th, past John Matson, and despite overtaking Matson on that lap, he took over a second out of the leaders.
That's some astonishing pace in those tyres, but can he close up quickly enough?
Yeah, well, I say it seemed like a fairly long pit stop. Probably cost him about, what, should we say 19 seconds? He was leading, wasn't he? Came out about 18 seconds off the lead.
I think that's a fair assessment, yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely got some time to make up, especially if these guys can make it to what?
Well, I think a 2-stop will be around about lap 19 or so it's only 3 more laps.
They're already out 2-stop.
Are they?
16:32.
48.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Okay, no, never mind.
I just can't count.
Well, we've got Kangoo behind Kinneman. So, there's everyone spreading out again. This is a great shot, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is... If you wanted to sell Formula Virtual to anyone, that right there is... Well, and the earlier one of the top 5 line astern within like 1.5 seconds is just fantastic. The racing we're having this year is phenomenal.
It is fantastic to watch. The new formula definitely working well as Kangoo and Yoshida manage to fight their way through the order. As we've got... is that one of the Phoenixes?
Yeah, I think that's Sergio Alvarez and Judson Sykes getting a little bit too close for comfort again after, especially after last time out.
Well, at least they managed to keep it clean so far, as we've got Zozulian Wagner moving up just behind them.
Yeah, what? what tyres is Sykes and Halverson both on the mediums, aren't they?
I think they are both on the medium tyres, but Sykes just can't seem to get turned on in the way that his Danish teammate can.
Yeah, I was going to say there's pretty much a pit stop between them already. I'm just wondering if Sykes has been involved in some kind of kerfuffle somewhere.
I'm not entirely sure, because we did see a brief yellow flag in the first sector a few laps ago.
Yeah, both Sykes and Wagner seem to have dropped down the order.
So perhaps something has happened there as Ruiz moves out on his teammate, the two Franklins side by side into the hairpin. And I think Ruiz has got the move done.
Yeah, he has. Ruiz up to second place then. And well, that's the first time in this race that he's actually been ahead of his teammate.
Well, strong driving there. You've got to imagine he wouldn't want to sit behind him for too long.
Absolutely, as Kanga puts a move on Hammers Vazquez to move up into 8th behind them. That's Hoskins trying to get past Schneider, and yeah, the British driver's struggling now in the traffic as fast when Schnellhead sets fast lap. Hoskins going to go around, well, he's kind of gone around the outside of Schneider at the final corner again. He's taking the Inman line, and he's made it work.
Well, it seems to be. He's got the inside line for turn 1, so unless Schneider can do something special around the outside, but it doesn't look as though he can.
No, great move then. The British driver up into 12th, and you should imagine the next move will be a bit simpler because it's on his teammate. But yeah, Kanga obviously taking a little bit longer to get through the traffic. He's now 7 seconds behind Klaas.
Well, he did have more traffic to get through after the stop, despite there only being a few seconds. There was at least 3 cars between them, as Inman's still not entirely going to take that line down, I don't think, from his teammate.
No, he does look as though he might try and fight back on this one, but as we tick, well, we're getting towards the end of lap 18. As you mentioned earlier, if they can go one more lap, they are into 2-stop territory.
And that would definitely make life difficult for the soft-tired runners, as we see again, that's quite an early braking zone.
Yeah, and that was aggressive defending from Ruiz to come across on his teammate, but Inman was absolutely having none of it. And could that give Giordano a run? It does as well. Around the outside of the final corner, the Italian takes the Brazilian, and he's up into 3rd place. Powers now looking to make a move down to someone as well. Was Ruiz going to lose 3 places in 3 corners? No, he's not.
Well, he holds off Powers, but that is not what he would have wanted at all. His teammate managed to slither past, and Giordano went, "Thank you very much, I'll have some of that."
Yeah, and I think that was, I'd almost say that was all born from Ruiz over-defending.
It certainly seemed to be, because Ruiz rather, had to get on the brakes quite quickly to avoid contact from the looks of it.
Yeah, he's, I think he needs to stop trying to cut across the track when there's already a driver alongside him, to be honest. But, well, it's not worked for him, so I suppose at least nothing ventured, nothing gained, but...
That much is fair, but in the meantime, that's allowed Simon to escape up ahead. The gap now 2.5 seconds. But take a look at Klaas van Snelheid. The gap has come down to less than 12.
Yeah, this is the Dutchman is absolutely flying at the moment, and there he is on the screen as if by magic.
Well, right as we're talking about him, but the medium-tired runners are now in 2-stop territory, and Klaas is going to be making 4, so it's all a case of can he make up those 2 extra pit stops? Yeah, so what he now needs to do, effectively, as Ruiz looks to come back at Puccio Giordano, a late move pulled out very last minute there, as Hoskins is ahead of Kinnaman behind him. But yeah, nothing doing there for Ruiz, as he's now under attack from Powers. I just saw them briefly change position. I'm presuming Ruiz has held on to it. But yeah, so what Klaas effectively now needs to do is pass all of those in front and then pull out another pit stop's worth of gap. That is what he needs to do, but I think he's definitely going to have clear air when they all come in for their stops.
Oh yeah, wow, he's in clear air at the moment.
He is, certainly, and the gap continuing to come down gradually.
So what have we... I mean, he's about 10 seconds off the lead. Guesstimate at around 20 because it's easier for a pit stop. So he needs to be 30 seconds quicker than these guys ahead in the last 36 laps of the race. We've had 20 so far, and he's only been about 10 seconds quicker than them.
That seems to be quite a tall ask for the Downton driver, but Well, Nathaniel Powers here, still hanging on to the back of Ruiz, so there could still be a fairly strong result in the offering.
Oh yeah, yeah, very much so. It will be interesting to see how the strategy plays out. Slightly disappointed we don't have any of the top runners on the hard tyres, just to see how that would have played out. Although from the looks of how it's going for like the likes of Matson and Vasquez, probably not too well.
Well, perhaps not, but they are sticking not too far back. They're still both in the top 10, so on for another double points finish.
Yeah, that's true. That's true indeed. As Powers looking to, we've got someone in. Oh, it's Simon. Simon's in the pits from the lead.
So that's the first of the medium-tired runners into the pits, and that's a relatively comfortable two-stopper. Where does he feed out in relation to Class? I think that's what we need to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
Class has already gone through.
Yeah, he's naturally already behind him. What Simon will be hoping is that he comes out in front of this lane of traffic. Kanga's gone through, but he's behind Yoshida, but crucially, he is ahead of the hard-tired runners of Matson and Vasquez, but only just.
There they are. I did think that was going to be close when I saw Yoshida coming through, but Simon appears to have made that work, because Yoshida will be into the pits in the next couple of laps, I would expect.
Yeah, when did they pit first time? About lap 13? 12?
12 or 13, I think it was.
I'm not sure Simon's going to wait that long as, wow, very nearly. I was caught out there totally. I was having a sip of water because I wasn't expecting an overtake to come in the middle sector.
Well, you certainly don't expect to see overtakes around those fast sweepers, but, well, we nearly made it work, but sadly not. But we've got to think he's going to be making that move sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and another thing as well, obviously, Simon has pitted earlier than the rest of them, but it's not going to be to of any detriment. As you say, it's still going to be a comfortable two-stopper. And all he's going to do here is get well, as the top four now all dive into the pits on the same, so it's only a single lap. But that will crucially give Simon another lap's undercut on the fresh tyres.
Well, you say that, but he has spent it in traffic behind Yoshida, so I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as you might expect. We're going to have to keep an eye on that.
Perhaps not. We'll have to see how this lot filter out of the pits then. Inman, Ruiz, Giordano and Powers. How will they come back out? Klaas van Snelheid takes the lead. Kanga is through, Yoshida's through, Simon is through, Matson has got ahead of Inman. Giordano very nearly comes out into the side pod of Will Hoskins. So they have exited the pits. No, they haven't exited the pits. Powers has jumped Ruiz.
Ruiz had to be held as the guys behind him were coming out of their pit box, so that's dropped him down behind Kinnaman.
And Ruiz has lost out. And yeah, Simon absolutely has gained. Ruiz is 8 seconds behind him now.
That is not what the Brazilian would have wanted, but Simon is still up in third. He's gotten past Yoshida already. But it's only the two soft-tired runners ahead of him at the minute, and they are going to be pitting again relatively soon, so Simon will be taking back the lead of this race.
Yeah, absolutely will. Klaas van Snelheid though, the gap between him and Simon is 12 seconds. He only needs 8 more really, doesn't he?
I think he might do. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens when he comes in and makes his second stop.
Yeah, although having said that, they've all made one stop
make.
now, so he still has 2 stops more to make, doesn't he, actually? So, yeah, so we need, 30 seconds still.
So that's, again, going to be a bit of a tall order. As Inman on Matson we see into the hairpin here, and that's pretty comfortable there.
That almost seemed quite assertive from Inman, as if to say, because I think the rumours have been circulating. Let's not pretend they haven't. Both teams run Honda engines. Ingram are very much seen as Franklin's ally, and it has been suggested by a number of high-profile people in the paddock that either Matson or Vasquez could be drafted into Franklin to replace Inman if he continues to underperform. But that very much seemed like Inman just saying, I'm still the best man for this job.
I think it certainly was. We've heard, we've heard noises from Jamie Franklin himself. He was not happy at all with Inman's performance in the first couple of races, and you've got to be imagining he's putting a little feather in his hat this one.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be. As Ruiz, surely not. He is not. No, Vasquez holds on. Oh no, he has. No, Ruiz has got it. Wow, what a move.
It was on, then it wasn't, and then it was, but Ruiz manages to make the move stick, and that puts him back into the top 10, and now he can go chasing after Nathaniel Powers now. Fantastic stuff from the Brazilian.
Yeah, I think Ruiz is a little bit hot under the collar after that. Well, being held in the pit stop, and he's got some fire in his belly now as the Brazilian.
Well, he certainly does do, as he's already pulled out a reasonable gap, over second already.
Yeah, as the cars fan out on the main straight then, Powers closing on Giordano as Will Hoskins. Yeah, it is Will Hoskins. Goes for a gap between Matson and Giordano that was always going to be closing up.
Well, that was very nearly 3 wide into the final corner, but Hoskins is still behind Matson, but I think it's not going to be too long before he gets through, and it could be into turn 1. Here we go.
Oh! Oh, no!
Oh, no, that's a disaster.
Will Hoskins then, well, I think that was well and truly his own fault, and that has cost Puccio Giordano, who has lost his front wing.
That is not a good place for him to stop either, right on the apex of turn 1 or 2. So hopefully they can get that cleared relatively quickly, but Giordano, that is going to put a real damper on his race. It's going to drop him well down the order.
Yeah, here we go then. Hoskins, I'm not entirely sure what he was doing. He went down the inside at turn 1 and just seemed to, well, for some reason the car just veered onto the grass, and as he came back onto the track, Giordano, unless he'd have opened the steering, and well, that would have put him totally off the circuit, really left with nowhere to go.
No, it certainly seemed that way. I think Hoskins perhaps ran a little bit too far to the inside, and then once you're on the grass, there's really nothing you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, I believe we had some rain overnight, so that grass is very wet and slippery. However, rather impressively, despite not having a front wing, Giordano has got past Matson.
Oh, well done. Perhaps it's going to be improving straight line speed, I'd imagine, as into the pits comes Klaas van Snelheid for his second stop.
Yeah, and Powers now passed both of them, past Giordano and Matson, as you say, as Klaas dives into the pits then, right on cue at the end of lap 24 for his second stop. Kanga takes the lead.
Did Kanga come into the pits on the same lap as Klaas van Snelheid earlier? I'm just trying to think back to that. As we've got...
Wow.
I think Matson doing the same thing to Ruiz. I think bad people of it.
Yeah, I'll be honest, my heart was still palpitating over the Klaas coming out of the pits.
Well, he was thankfully clear of them, but Matson brings in some very strong defending from this race.
It was more how close he was to his teammate's side pod, to be honest.
Ah, okay. I was a bit more concentrating on what was going on behind, but they have come out lying astern, and you've got to imagine Powers would be moving over relatively quickly here.
He'll certainly be getting a message to the effect over the radio, yes.
That seems to be, as England is about 8 seconds up the road of the pair of them. So Klaas van Snel quickly really put the hammer down and close back in. Yeah,
so Powers then lost a heap of time there, didn't he? Stuck behind Giordano without a front wing.
It certainly seemed that way, as Giordano has exited the pits in 19th place behind both of the Phoenix cars.
Oh. And that's a real shame for Giordano. So, oh my god.
It really is. Was there contact there between them? Klaas van Snelheid, he's got the move done, but that was a bit...
Boys, what are you doing?
As Kang goes into the pitch, meanwhile, from the lead.
Oh, I think they're trying to scare me half. I'm going to take them both into a room and slap them after this race. As thankfully Klaas has got past Powers with no incident, and they are up into 4th and 5th. Whereas Kanga come back out. Kanga is once again has a lot more overtaking to do.
Well, he's still in the top 10, but behind Timo Kinnaman. So the soft tires are going to have to do quite some work there, as Klaas van Snelheid already 9 seconds up the road from him.
Yeah, that's sterling effort there from the Dutchman then. But yeah, just back on Giordano, that's a real shit. I was only saying earlier in the race how it was surprising how, you know, Ocelot hadn't been able to sort of keep pace with the top 3 teams, and yet in this one, Giordano, he was right amongst them, wasn't he? On the medium tyres, like you know, like Powers and Ruiz and Inman. He was right in there amongst them.
He definitely was, and he's already gotten past the two Phoenix cars. But you know, 17th place is scant reward for a drive like his. It was really up there on merit again. And while Yoshida's in second place, you've got to imagine the soft tires perhaps not going to be able to hold on to that as Inman pulls to the inside.
Yeah, and I think that just goes to show that the soft tyres really are gone, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Inman dive into the pits at the end of this lap.
Well, quite possibly, or Yoshida, depending.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, no, and I thought Inman's not on the soft tires, but we've
Yeah, there we
got,
go.
Meanwhile, that is Kinnaman and Kangur, I believe, scrapping for position.
Yeah, I think it is.
The
It's
hard
Klaas van
tires is
Snelheid.
holding them up.
Sorry, I should say Klaas van Snelheid. A 33.8.
That is quite
That's
a
some
time
lap
there.
time.
Definitely. But we're still watching Kangur trapped behind Kinnaman, and you've got to imagine he's going to make that move quite soon.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Sorry, I'm just checking what the lap record is around China. It's... What did Kangur just do? A 33.8?
33 point something, you said.
Oh, the fastest lap's long gone. It was a 35.3 set by Timo Kinnaman.
Wow. Well, I mean, we have seen lap times tumble with these new cars, but that is mightily impressive there.
Yeah, that's nearly 2 seconds. That's stunning. These cars are just beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous, definitely. As we're just closing in on the halfway point in the race, as Adrian Simon still holds the lead from Olin Inman, with a gap coming up to just about 5 seconds.
Yeah, as Kangur there was looking at a move on Timo Kinnaman, the Finnish driver running on the hard tyres. Well, you'd imagine they're absolutely going to be in one-stop territory, wouldn't they?
Oh, definitely
hard
one
tire
stop,
runners.
but I think Kangur's getting a bit impatient here, and I think the move could well be done before the corner.
Yeah, and he slices back across the track just to make absolutely sure.
So quite comfortably up into 8th there is Alar Kangur, and next up the road James Vasquez in the Ingram.
Yeah,
Currently
as
running
we see.
6th and 7th they are.
Yeah, so it is. It's working at the moment, isn't it, for the Ingrams? Although all the medium runners are ahead of them with only one more stop to make, so they're not going to get any ground on them. And I think the soft side runner is probably going to make the gap as well, to be honest.
I think that's probably accurate as we're on board with Carson Davenport. Don't hit your teammate, that would be bad.
Yeah, certainly would. The two I've forgotten what the team name's called. I'm so sorry, Alex. Phoenix. There we go. Total mind blank there. Yeah, the two Phoenix running pretty well. They're ahead of the firsts, the AMRs and the Meteors.
They certainly seem to have done a very strong job in
contact!
this season. Oh, that's not good. We've got one of the AMRs turned around.
That's Kovalenko, I believe.
That is right in the racing line. Too much of a contact. Kovalenko would not have wanted that at all.
No, I think that was Jules Simon, wasn't it, running into the back of it, and
I think it was. We saw Vokaland just coming up to the incident.
Yeah, here we go then. On board, and it is indeed Simon, and he has lost a bit of his front wing, and that, well, that was just clumsy.
I think it was, just misjudged his braking there, as we've got the two Phoenix cars again.
And there was contact between them then.
So there was, so getting a bit feisty between the two of them there. But aside from that, they've done relatively well, I think.
Oh, and more contact. That's Kangur and Vasquez. Oh, and he's hit the other Ocelot.
Oh, that is not good at all. So Yoshida is going to be having trouble there. Matson is in the pits. So
oh, and Yoshida has totally lost his front wing as well.
Oh my goodness. So both Ocelots involved in incidents with both Ingrams.
Yeah, oh, and that was close in the pit lane then.
Oh, that was very close. Kim was coming into his pit stop, and Matson just was exiting there. But the Ocelots, you've got to imagine they're not going to be happy with the Ingram's conduct in this race. I think the stewards are going to have a few words.
Yeah, absolutely not, and you've got to feel sorry for them. That's, you know, both of them now have been forced into an additional pit stop through absolutely no fault of their own whatsoever. And Yoshida, well, that's going to be doubly painful because he'll have only just made his stop as well.
That is true, but The Ocelots, they definitely had a lot of pace in them, but sometimes just luck does go against you. And sadly, it doesn't look like it's going to be a very strong race for them.
No, I think either of them will be very lucky to pick up points here.
I think that would be accurate, as meanwhile we've got, I think this is Usberg in the Lopez with Sykes and Matson just behind.
Yeah, it seems. So there we go. The hard tide runners have pitted then. Of course, we just saw an Ingram nearly colliding with Kinnaman, didn't we?
We did do. Was it Matson or Vasquez? It was Matson that was in the pits, so that will presumably be his first and only stop of the race, as he just drives straight past Justin Sykes there.
Yeah, I'd assume Matson, but then they were pretty much together, weren't they, the Ingrams? And now there only seems to be about 10 seconds between them. Oh no, there we go. Vasquez pits now. So yes, somewhere Vasquez has lost a chunk of time to his teammate.
Was it not Matson that was turned around though by Kangur?
Oh yes, I think it was actually. So maybe Matson hasn't pitted yet.
I think Matson was in the pits because he was cutting across Timo Kinnaman there as Ryota Yoshida sitting in the pits for quite a while in that new front wing.
So perhaps it must have been Vasquez that was turned around then.
I think it was. And we were talking about Phoenix earlier as Alvarez makes his pit stop for the race there. They've done a very strong job in their debut season, I would think. They're not by any means the slowest team.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've seen new teams come into it before, like I think 2016 with yourselves, Holmquist and First. It was evident that there was just guys really struggled. The only team that you sort of competed with in the earlier races was us, because we were useless. And then after the European developments, I think it just seems to see you sort of guys fighting out at the back. Prior to that, we had Ocelot in 2015, who admittedly beat Warrior, but again were kind of just mired to the back. And yeah, Phoenix to be ahead of. I mean, you'd pretty much. I'd say they're ahead of AMR, Meteor, and First really. So to be ahead of three teams is a fantastic effort.
Well, it certainly is, and they've kept their noses relatively clean for this race. They're just going around, racking up miles and getting experience in the sport, which is exactly what you want to do in the early stages of your career here.
Yeah, absolutely, and I dare say, if we have a bit of a crazy race at one point, it's entirely possible they may nick a point or two.
I think that could well be in the offing, given some of the races that have happened in the past in Formula Virtual.
Like perhaps a wet Malaysia or something, which is due. We're heading to Malaysia next weekend, and the forecast is currently well, I think we're best off taking snorkels, frankly.
It certainly does look that way. Malaysia, more often than not, a very wet race in other Formula, certainly. But we haven't had a wet race for a while in Formula Virtual, and these new cars were brought in. They were kind of designed for wet races, should they ever crop up, and we could well be getting one next time around if the cards fall right. Yeah,
it will certainly be very, very interesting to see. As you say, the forecast is, Saturday's just Friday and Saturday are just forecast as a total washout. There is a little bit more of a question mark over Sunday, but I think we are due rain. But it will be interesting to see. Either way, but we're going to back to here on board with Giordano as he's looking to take 10th place from Osberg. The Swede defends the inside. Is this the first time Osberg will run in the points?
I'm not entirely sure if it's the first time he's run in the points, but you just saw him drifting over to the inside, covering off Giordano who had to lift, and that's some pretty good defending there from the Swede there.
Yeah, but he, wow.
Wow, indeed, the power that is in that Ocelot car.
Yeah, I'm not sure what engine they've got in there, but whatever it is, I think it's got a turbo.
It perhaps does well do, but back up front, this is Klaas van Snelheid has caught Olin Inman.
Yeah, so that's kind of one pit stop he's made up already then, but he's still 6 seconds behind Simons. Yeah, I don't think he's As long as and what is Inman doing?
Oh, that is not what you want to be doing. Inman, that is far too harsh. We've both lost a chunk of time to Simon up ahead.
Yeah, and so Klaas then was heading. I hope you get a replay of that, perhaps on board. Klaas was heading down the inside, and Inman. Oh, and they're both into the pits.
Also, they both picked up damage. That is not good at all. But you saw Inman swirling quite a lot under braking for that final corner. So, is there something wrong with the suspension? Maybe that puts Powers up into second.
Yeah. Now, how much of it? I mean, that's a. What were the? Yeah. So this is going to be an additional pit stop for Inman, isn't it?
I think it perhaps will do.
I think Klaas might just get away with it.
Quite possibly. How many laps have we got to go? It's 23. That is right on the bubble for him.
Yeah, but I mean, if we say what 12 would be 40. So here we go then. Klaas went down the inside. Inman trying to. Well, it seems as though he was trying to replicate what his teammate had done earlier in the race, and well, misjudged it and just pulled straight across into Klaas, and both, as a result, have picked up damage.
Well, I'll tell you who that's played into the hands of is Alar Kangur, who now finds himself ahead of Klaas van Snelheid, having been quite some way behind earlier.
Yeah, I have to say, that's I'd say that's slightly disappointing for Kangur though. He's only 5 seconds ahead, despite Klaas having made an extra pit stop.
Yeah, that's perhaps not as much pace in the DS car as the Downton, although Simon up ahead is still gapping Powers relatively.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if perhaps that DS Mattershort isn't quite working as well on the softer tyre compounds.
You could well be right about that. Perhaps it's just struggling to keep them in the operating window. But Simon definitely looks to be in a very, very strong position for this race.
Especially as we are now up to 27 degrees indeed.
So track temperature slowly climbing. And we're over the halfway mark now. There's not, well, there's 22 laps left. Still quite a long way to go as we've got Kinnaman on Sykes along the back straight.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be fairly straightforward for the Finn, and indeed he goes up into 12th place. Ahead of them, Giordano did get past Osberg for 10. So impressively then, Giordano is back into the points.
He is, so he's still fighting his way through. Yoshida here we're watching down in 15th though.
Meanwhile, thus far, what a stunning drive from Halverson. The Dane is up in 8th.
I'm not entirely sure how he's done that, but I'll take it. Certainly, it's been a challenging first couple of races for North Star, you have to admit, with, well, Halverson very nearly scored points in Australia.
Yeah.
And could well be on course for some here as Sykes enters the pits. That's quite early.
Yeah, and wow, that would Sykes and Wagner, they did drop back earlier on in the race, didn't they? Both were. So I'm wondering if we missed something. There was contact between the pair, and they actually were forced to make a pit stop.
I think you could be right about that, as there's a yellow flag in Sector 1. So has anything happened there? You need to keep an eye on.
Who's in Sector 1? Well, this is Kanga coming down into the final hairpin. So Sector 1 is going to be about where the leaders are. Look at the gap between Simon and Powers.
It's coming down. There's something happened to Simon.
I don't know. Well, that's Simon now. So it looks as though, well, there's a meteor off there. Oh no. They haven't collided, have they?
I should definitely hope not, the two teammates, but this is why everyone's slowing down in the first corner. Jules Simon right in the middle of the track, and here we go.
Oh no.
Oh, that is the cardinal sin, isn't it, in motor racing? You never hit your teammate.
Absolutely, and so for the second time in 2 races then, both Meteors will fail to make the finish as we go on board for Davenport. That's not a nice sight.
That is not what you want at all, but thankfully I think we've gotten through relatively unscathed. We are... Oh my word.
As temporarily there, he had a second rear wing.
He's lost the camera on the top of the car, so perhaps we're going to not be seeing too much of him in future in this race. But yeah, both Meteors out of the race.
In the same incident. Oh, that's...
I mean, we were speculating as the yellow flag disappeared, so they presumably got the incident cleared already. But we were speculating whether or not bringing the two guys in straight from the third tier was a gamble too far for the Meteor team, and from the time being, it certainly seems to be that way.
Well, yeah, from 6 race starts now. Then, if you take both cars into account, they've had 5 retirements.
That's not a strong hit rate, as we've got Klaas van Snelheid already closing right back in on Kangler. So the time that Kangler had gained with Klaas's extra stop is already been hard straight out.
Yeah, it certainly has. Klaas is very much on it, and I was just trying to calculate if I think he pitted at the end of about that 32, so that would put 33 actually. Sorry, so that would put him at 35. So that only leaves him 11 laps. So I think Klaas will go to the end. I do believe he'll manage to complete this still on 4 stops.
I think that would be true. You're right.
So thankfully,
he made 2. There was the 3rd for the contact, and then the 4th.
Yeah, the 4th, which will come about lap 45 or so. So thankfully, seeing as it was, well, I'd say that contact was solely Inman's fault. He was the one that drifted across the track. Klaas is not going to lose out, and it is only going to be Inman who will lose out here. We're having to make an additional stop.
I think that might be accurate, as he's still closing in but can't quite seem to make a way through. But I think we need to keep an eye on the gap up ahead, because he was right there with Adrian, Simon and Powers. But that seems quite a long way away now.
Yeah, but then, I mean, the top 2... Well, I don't know, actually, because... Oh, and Kanga's doing it as well. Kanga comes across, and thankfully that was more tyre to tyre than anything else. I think the pair of them might have just got away with that. We'll see. Is Klaas going to dive into the pits? No, I don't think he does. I think he was aiming round the corner. Yeah, driver's getting very over-defensive now on that back straight.
Well, it certainly seems to be, as we've had a number of overtakes into the final hairpin, and perhaps people are just starting to get a little bit too anxious about it, potentially.
Yeah, very much so. I was just saying, though, actually, Simon and Powers have only made... Well, and Ruiz have only made 1 stop, haven't they? Klaas has now effectively made 3. Well, no, he has made 3. So he is already his 2 stops behind. So that is genuinely how far behind them he is. He is only 2 seconds off the back of Ruiz and a podium place.
So it could still be a fairly strong result for Klaas, even with the incident.
Yeah, he could still be on for, as I say, comfortably a 2nd podium.
Well, quite potentially, 2nd podium in 2 races. When did Simon and Powers come into the pits, though? It was around lap 19 or so, wasn't it? So it's getting really close to the window now.
Yeah, I think it was 19. I think, yeah, because Simon pitted a lap earlier than everyone else, didn't he?
I think he did do. So I think next time around, we could be seeing him dive in.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be within the next couple of laps, as that there then is Johan Halvorsen defending from Puccio Giordano. He has John Matson right up with them as well. The Dane, as we said, putting in a fantastic drive so far, as is ahead of them Finn Schneider for 7th place. I think Halvorsen's about to lose 8th place. There goes Giordano, the Ocelot. Well, we know it's a quick car as Kanga pits from 6th then for his 3rd stop. We know the Ocelot's a quick car, and Giordano there breezes past into 8th. Halvorsen slips to 9th. His next target is Finn Schneider. As we said, the young Swiss putting in a fantastic performance thus far to be up in 7th place. Westwood have only scored points once this season, and that was only 2 of them. They could be on for far more here today as Kanga rejoins, still in 6th place, but now some 40 seconds behind his teammate. Somewhere then, he's made 3 stops, Klaas has made 3 stops. Somewhere he's lost 22 seconds to the Dutchman. Yes, it's not... The soft hide strategy hasn't really worked for Kanga. And he now has quite a gap to Inman even to make up. As Felix Bayer dives into the pits towards the back of the field, we've got who's lead. So see if we take into account, well, both Meteors are out. So, we've got more defending down into the hairpin. That is Ruiz. That's Klaas on Ruiz. Klaas van Snelheid then has caught up the 2 seconds. to Ruiz and taken the place already. Both of these drivers then, with one more stop to make, Klaas van Snelheid puts himself into a net podium position.
And we are back. Apologies for the technical troubles there.
Hello.
Hello.
Klaas has just taken third.
Oh, well done him. So that's him back into the podium contention.
Mm-hmm.
And on faster tyres, so he could be moving up even more, do we think?
Yeah, next target Powers. He now has, well, he's 16 seconds behind Simon and race leader, with about 16 laps left.
So he needs to be closing in roughly a second a lap in that case to make it work. But this is roughly the time that the leaders are going to be pulling into the pits for their second stop.
Yeah,
so
which
Klaas is going to have quite some time to get those soft tyres turned on.
Yeah, he certainly will. He's going to have, as you say, he's going to have time. He's going to have clear air. However, the guys on the mediums will also have fresh tyres, while classes will be getting on a bit.
That they will, but perhaps a little bit more pace to be wrung out of them, unless he's trying to stretch them out and go for a blistering final stint.
Yes, we shall see. It's going to be interesting, this one. The gap now between the Simon and Klaas down to 16 seconds, well, just under, a shade under 16 seconds. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. While you're away as well, Halverson did slip behind Giordano, but I think that was to be expected, to be honest.
I think you're right about that. The Ocelot definitely a far faster car than the North Star in this part of the season, from the looks of things. And this is, I think, Yoshida behind Kinnaman, so we could be seeing another move here.
Yeah, as the second Ocelot, as I say, looks to make its way back into the points. What a stunning recovery that would be if they could both get back into the points. As up ahead, Matson takes 9th from Halverson, and Giordano has gone up to 7th past Finn Schneider. As there we see the four of them on track.
So the Ocelot's definitely on the move here.
Yeah, and Yoshida, I was going to say Yoshida did indeed take Kinnaman. Kinnaman looked as though he was fighting back briefly, but no, he has indeed. Yoshida has taken that place. Kanga also pitted and rejoined, well, back in 6th place.
So that's roughly where we'd expect him to exit the pits.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how much further up the order he can climb when the new turbines repair stops.
Yeah, do you know, to be honest, obviously Kanga, well, like everyone in front of him, has a stop to make now. I think he's kind of nailed on to 6th position, if I'm honest. He's 14 seconds behind Inman.
I think you may be right about that. It's quite hard to gauge how many, or remember how many stops everybody's made, because there's 26 of them. They've been all over the place.
Oh, Simon pits then, end of lap 40.
Well, that's gone quite a while for him. I think that was an extra lap over his first stint.
Yeah, I think, because I'm convinced his first stint was 19.
I thought it was 19 as well. So he drops now behind Klaas van Snelheid and Ruiz and Inman.
Yeah, and Nathaniel Powers takes the lead of the race. Just before that stop, though, the gap between Simon and Klaas was down to about 14 seconds. So he was told he had to make a second a lap. He's doing it thus far. This could be really quite tight come the end of this race.
It could well be, and what a recovery that would be for Klaas van Snelheid after the extra pit stop that he had to make earlier in the race.
Yeah, very much so.
He was always on a 4-stopper anyway, so it's kind of worked out in his favour.
Yeah, as I was saying a bit earlier, sort of working out, I don't think he was just about going to get away with that one. That he was. It was Inman will have to make an additional stop, but despite the fact Inman is he's only 2 seconds behind Ruiz, having made an extra pit stop.
That is some quite strong stuff there from the Monegasque. Perhaps really those words from Franklin have put some ginger up him.
yeah,
that's
very
the only
much
analogy
so.
I could think of at the time. I apologise.
Yeah, he's what did I say? I think it was last time out in Japan, wasn't it? Where following qualifying, I think it as into the pits then comes Powers. I'd imagine Ruiz and Inman will follow him in as Klaas van Snelheid goes through to take the lead. No, 2 Franklins have continued, and they're pretty much nose to tail behind. So they're going to go for an extra lap. This is going to, well, I mean, this is going to give even more advantage to Powers. Oh no, Ruiz is pitted, sorry.
So that leaves Inman through to take another lap. And
Oh, of course, he's out of sync though, isn't he?
He is, that's true, isn't it?
So he will pit, but it will be probably right towards the end, round lap 53 or so.
Could well be, and that's one to keep an eye on, definitely.
Unless he can indeed eke this out, because at the moment he's made 2 stops and he's ahead of Simon.
That would be quite interesting, but that's quite a long order, but we did see that last time out in Japan.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time drivers have well, totally shocked us and gone far longer than expected.
That is true, and Yoshida into the pits on lap 42. I think he's going to have to stop again after this, though.
That would be a disaster. As if it hasn't gone bad enough for Yoshida already, bless him, through no fault of his own. That would really stick the boot in, wouldn't it?
It really would, but Yoshida can take some solace in the fact that his pace was very strong in the early going before that incident.
Oh, as Inman again over defending, and Simon backed out of that one to avoid.
I think he had to avoid an incident.
Yeah, absolutely, and well, Ruiz earlier on was towing the line, shall we say, in terms of defending. Inman has towed the line and walked straight over it.
That is true, but thankfully managing to stay more out
Oh
of the way
no,
there.
Simon's on the grass!
Oh dear, there's nobody behind him. That's a back marker, one of the firsts.
Yeah, that.
Who thankfully managed to stay keep the distance from it.
There's defending, and then there's stupid. And Inman is now firmly in the category of stupid in my book.
Oh, so it would seem, and you can tell the Frenchman is not happy in that car.
No, and you can't blame him. All of this is allowing Klaas van Snelheid up front to build a gap and get away. And this is absolutely not what Simon needs.
He's 7 seconds ahead of the Dutchman. And Simon is going to want to get by Inman and start closing that back up.
Yeah, and 13 laps to go. He's been taking the second lap so far, his class. If he can continue on this, well, you'd imagine him and Simon will be pretty much nose to tail as this race comes to its conclusion.
Well, that would be quite something to see, as we've seen this quite a few times in this season. We've seen this strategy shaking out toward the end of the race, as again Simon has to lift out as Inman drifts across the track.
Yeah, Inman's gone to cover the inside, but he's gone really early. Simon goes around the outside of the hairpin though. Can he make this work? Oh, there's contact there between the two as Inman,
Has he evolved?
yeah. It's a combination of the two of them now, they're so close together.
Well, I think they've just managed to get away with that. Simon thankfully getting away without any front wing damage, but he's really starting to get a bit impatient here from the looks of things.
Yeah, and you can absolutely understand that. He's now 8 seconds behind Klaas van Snelheid. And Simon really needs to make this move. Inman needs to, defend, man, by all means, but he's taking it too far.
I mean, just to give you a sense of how much pace they're losing, they're not gapping from the first behind them.
Yeah, I think that's Perez, isn't it? Not actually.
And Perez is holding on to them.
Yeah. No, actually, it's Zazolia. Sorry, I think Perez is slightly ahead. Perez has only just been lapped by Klaas. But yeah, even so, this is kind of where Zazolia was last year, wasn't it? Right up with Adrian Simon and a Franklin, and not losing time, and well, he'll be getting flashbacks at the moment.
I can imagine he would do, the heady days of 2017 for the first team.
Yeah, this isn't good, is it? It's what are we going to see this time then? We're onto the back straight again. Is Inman going to defend aggressively once more? Simon's pulled out. Here he comes. Inman's pulled across and he's into the side of the DS National. But this time, Simon was more firmly alongside, and I think he's going to force the issue, and he does indeed. Simon is through into second. He wasn't having that any longer.
And not before time, I would imagine. Inman very aggressive in his defending, but Simon was just having none of it as Klaas van Snelheid is now into the pits.
Yeah, so here we go then. The Dutchman giving himself, that's the end of lap 44. Those tyres should go minimum 12 laps, so he should be absolutely fine until the end of the race. Klaas giving himself the absolute maximum opportunity to try and attack. Where's he going to come back? He fed out behind Ruiz, so he has some overtaking to do. He has 14 and a half seconds. He's lost some time.
It certainly seems like he has, as Giordano enters the pits as well, and Simon and Inman still not quite able to shake each other off, as here's Powers and Kangur some 10 seconds behind them.
Yeah, and this is the battle for third place at the moment then, isn't it? Because Klaas, he made all those overtakes and made it work. He's now going to do it again.
Well, he's on the softer tyres, and we saw him forceful in the early going in this race, so you've got to imagine it could be on the cards here.
Yeah, that's very true, and he's only, 4 seconds behind Powers. Inman's going to have to stop again, you'd imagine. But he's stunned if he did, even more stunned than last time out.
If Olin Inman didn't. It was a fantastic drive from Inman, you have to mention, in Japan. From, was it 16th on the grid, I believe, onto the podium?
It was something mad, yeah. I think...
Well, meanwhile, Klaas van Snelheid in the background pulls out on Ruiz, and I think he's got the move done.
Yeah, and he has, easy as you like then, the fresh soft tyres against the medium tyres that have, about 6 laps on them or so?
Roughly that kind of range, and, 1 down, 4 to go.
Yeah, very much so, but 14 seconds behind Simon. I think the race win is firmly in the hands of the Frenchman, save anything going drastically wrong at the moment.
Well, I can certainly agree with that, but you've got to imagine that a podium is definitely still on the cards for the Dutchman.
Very much so.
Vasquez and Kinnaman.
Yeah, scrapping over 8th place then, the Colombian and the Finn.
And I think this is allowing Giordano to just close up on them a little bit, so we could be having a 3-way fight for 8th in the closing stages.
Yeah, we certainly could, and it's been, I don't think it's been I don't think the hard tyres have worked fantastically for these guys, but they're making the strategy, Matson sat in 7th place. He has 10 seconds back to 2 guys behind him who are also on the hard tyres. I think he could be looking at a strong points haul here, although I do believe Vasquez and Kinnaman may well come under pressure from the likes of Giordano and possibly even Halverson.
I think they could well do, but Ingram definitely seem to be at the moment on for a double points finish, so that would be a relatively strong result for them.
Yeah, certainly will after. Well, I mean, they've really yo-yoed a little bit, haven't they? 4th and 5th in Australia, and then I think they were caught up in some incidents, if I remember correctly. But no points at all in Japan, and now back to a double points finish here at the moment in China.
Certainly seems to be that way, as Klaas van Snelheid pumps in another fastest lap, a 1:33.5 from the looks of it.
Yeah, that's impressive. We're getting down to nearly 2 seconds quicker than the
And he's now just 12 seconds off the lead, so Klaas van Snelheid really dropping some hammers in that Downton.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's going for it. Go on, lad. Go on.
I mean, he's definitely got the pace, but can he get past the guys ahead?
Yeah, what are we on now? Lap 47. So there's, including this one, 10 to go?
There's 10 laps to go, you're right. And he's 12 seconds off the lead, but it is still coming down.
He's going to have to get these overtakes out of the way. And pretty quick.
You can already see him closing up on Kangaroo and Powers ahead.
Yeah, Powers needs not defend here, just move side.
I think that might be fair. Not what the double world champion's going to want to do, but for the good of the team, I can imagine.
That's fine. It's
perhaps won't be so. I forget the word. Not so helpful.
Yeah. No, it's fine. They work well together. They understand that they're on different strategies. I think it'll be fine. Yeah,
could perhaps be causing a little bit of trouble as Powers tries to find a way past.
I think that's Kovalenko, isn't it? He's let them through now. Then on the start-finish straight. So I think Kovalenko just waiting for a longer period to get out. And Klaas is now right with them though as a result of that. And Kanga's wide and Klaas. Well, that was easy.
Well, it certainly seemed to be, as Kovalenko perhaps might slip back through, as Kangur perhaps shifted onto the dusty line and just couldn't get the grip, slid out even further wide, and that's cost him.
Yeah, and Klaas van Snelheid then up to 4th, and now his next target for a podium position is his teammate.
This is, I can imagine, going to be a tasty old scrap in the last few laps. Because meanwhile, Yoshida's gotten past Halverson up into 11th. Because he's not going to go around the outside here, is he?
No, thankfully.
That would be an ambitious move, but Klaas van Snelheid looking incredibly racy here, and the back straight, I think, is going to be the position again.
Yeah, well, I think the Dutchman, he's only been in this series for just over a season, and he's already become somewhat famed for somewhat stunning overtakes. So he's very much known for them. I'll expect another one here somewhere. He's closing rapidly on Powers. I think this is going to be one of the more straightforward ones. Powers defends, they bang wheels down the straight, but surely he's left a gap, and Klaas does indeed sneak through. So Powers, he wasn't going to make it easy, but he just about left him the room.
I think that's everything that Powers was ever going to do. But Klaas van Snelheid is now up into a podium position, and he can now go chasing down after Adrian Simon, because Olin Inman, we're expecting to make another stop, so we could see both Downtons on the podium.
Yeah, could do indeed. And just obviously you mentioned Yoshida had passed Halverson. We're expecting Yoshida to have to pit as well. So despite the fact he's just gone up to 10th place, wouldn't expect him to finish there.
I would, well, if he can eke the tyres out, that would be fantastic. But if he does have to pit again, that might be a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, that's true.
Got Giordano in the points, however.
Yeah, that alone is a fantastic. I don't think Giordano has to make another stop, so that alone is a fantastic recovery. As he now takes, no, he doesn't quite take 8 from Vasquez, but you can't imagine it will be too long.
I certainly wouldn't do with Vasquez on the harder tyres, but we've seen Vasquez making life pretty tricky in turn 1 for some cars trying to get past him, and still making life not exactly easy for Giordano there.
Yeah, and that's allowed Yoshida to close right back up the 2 Ocelots. Surely, I don't think I've seen an overtake there today, but I have now. Brilliant move from Giordano.
That was pretty good opportunistic driving there, but he's gotten past the Ingram, and he can now go chasing, well, I think it's a fairly comfortable 8th for him at the minute.
Yeah, there's 13 seconds up front to Matson, but Matson is on the hard tyres, and obviously they've only made the 1 stop. It was about the mid-distance, so they will be getting pretty worn now. Be interesting to see if Giordano can do anything about that gap.
Well, it certainly will do, as well, I think there's some position shuffling around. Is that Ruiz or Kanger's in the pits?
Oh yeah, no, that would be right, wouldn't it? That's a scheduled 4th stop.
I think it is on the soft tyres, so he's managed to stretch them out a little bit.
Yeah,
so
I think that's
coming out the final corner, and I think Kanger is gonna maintain 6th, although it might be close.
when he came in, he was only just behind Powers, so yeah, I think that's going to be fairly comfortable. Well, I don't know, that's a lot closer than I was expecting. Actually, he's only 4 seconds ahead of Matson.
So Halverson's just gotten past Kinnaman. There was quite a lot of action into the hairpin.
Yeah, so Halverson 11th now then. If we're expecting Yoshida to have to pit, Halverson could well be on for a point.
Well, quite potentially, but he's got a Holmquist behind him. And we saw how that ended up in Australia.
Did we?
Well, he lost out on a points position to a Holmquist in Australia.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Laps.
As I say earlier, apologies, I can't remember yesterday. Never mind.
That's okay. Well, we've got Yoshida still looking feisty in the Ocelot there. Looking to find a way past Vasquez.
Yeah, he's, well, if the aim was for Yoshida to look after the tyres, I don't think he's got the memo.
I certainly would see that way, but he's proven himself to be quite a tricky racer here. Had a couple of incidents in the early races, but I mean, the incident, it wasn't his fault, was it?
Oh no, absolutely not. No, he was a totally innocent party.
But aside from that, he has driven a pretty strong race here, you have to admit.
Yeah, he very much has his Ruiz pits.
Now, what would that be for?
I don't know.
Because we were expecting the medium tyres to go to the end, unless something's happened.
Yeah, that's very unusual, and Ruiz has now slipped behind Alar Kanga as a result. He's only just come out ahead of Matson.
So could that be something to keep an eye on toward the end of the race?
Yeah, certainly could be. I'm intrigued by that one.
Well, Yoshida's gotten past Vasquez, but the Colombian looking to try and fight back a little bit.
Oh, although he's coming under pressure from Halverson as well now. Is the Dane going to be able to sweep around the outside? I think Halverson is going to do this. Brilliant.
Keep an eye on it. Oh, that is a fantastic move there from Halverson.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And, well, the Dane is now up into the points, and he has, thankfully for him, an Ingram between himself and the Holmquist.
Well, just for the time being, we've got Kinnaman and Schneider's closed up on them as well. But that was a great piece of opportunism from Halverson. Just saw the opportunity and leapt in at it.
Yeah, very much. Oh, we've got contact. That's Klaas van Snelheid and Inman.
Again. So, I mean, we saw him defending very aggressively from Van Snelheid earlier, resulting in an extra pit stop for the pair of them. Now we're picking up again.
Yeah, do you reckon that was Klaas getting payback?
It's quite difficult to tell. We joined that incident quite late, but they've both gotten away with it.
Yeah, seems to have done so far.
I think he's running out of laps to catch Simon.
Yeah, I mean, the gap was down to about 7.5 seconds, but I think stuck behind Inman, he is losing time. Is Klaas going to take this move? Wow, that was brave.
Well, it was brave, but he's pulled it off. Inman was trying to close the door quite firmly from the looks of things.
There's a surprise.
But it certainly seems that way. He's been very forceful throughout the race. But Klaas van Snelheid now up into on merit second position.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm just wondering if maybe that was a bit of a ploy from Klaas. He's seen Inman defending aggressively all over the place, and well, no, that was purely Klaas' fault, but neither of them seem to have picked up damage or lost time.
Well, that was fortunate. I think he just missed the braking spot for a little bit, but he's already pulled out a second over Inman.
Yeah, he was lucky not to lose his front wing there. That was quite a hefty whack, actually.
Well, it certainly was, but everything's in one piece still, and Power's now starting to close in again from the looks of things.
Yeah, and this could be Power's set to take third place off of Inman. We're still expecting Inman to have to make another stop. So losing these positions, he was not really going to affect him because he'll have lost them anyway.
Well, I think you're right about that, but he would have wanted to keep Klaas van Snelheid behind him on the road, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, you'd imagine so. I'm still trying to work out why Ruiz would have made another stop. Because it can't have been contact because there was no one around him, unless he's run into a back marker, or a back marker's run into him.
That could have happened. I don't think we saw anybody else in the pits on the same time, though.
No, that's true. See, look, there we go. I think Inman needs to watch that back. That's how you aggressively defend, but without just barging into someone. That was textbook from Kinnaman.
Yeah, pretty good stuff, keeping Schneider behind him for the time being. But I think you need to allow the other driver a little bit of space, and Olin Inman didn't seem to be doing that.
No, he certainly didn't. Oh, that was tight. Schneider very nearly. Former teammates, aren't they? Schneider and Kinnaman.
They are. They were teammates at Westwood previous year. Kinnaman now making the jump to Holmquist, and he's made a pretty good stab of it in the early going.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he's running 12, which is outside of the points. I think Hoskins probably would have been a bit higher up had he not been involved in that incident earlier on. But down the inside of Inman then goes Nathaniel Powers. This is for third place, and that was as easy as you like. Inman didn't defend that one at all.
No, I think he knows exactly what's going on.
Maybe that's why.
There we go. Olin Inman into the pits for that extra stop we were expecting. Put him quite badly out of sync with the incident with Klaas van Snelheid, and with only 3 laps to go, that's going to drop him where? Behind Ruiz?
He was about 20 seconds ahead of Ruiz, so it's entirely possible he's going to come out side by side with his teammate.
That would be quite something to keep an eye on, as this is Kangor coming down the back straight.
Yeah, Kanga's wow, and there we go, as he comes out of the pits, he's near enough going to be wheel to wheel, but Ruiz has just pipped him. Inman has fresh tyres though. This will be interesting to watch over the last 3 laps, I'm sure. The Monegasque will be desperate to get back ahead of his teammate.
I think he certainly will do. And remember how he pounced right on the line in Japan? You see the repeat of that here?
Very possible. We have a brief yellow flag in the middle sector that seems to have... Oh, now it's in the final sector. Oh god, now it's everywhere. The blooming timing screen's lighting up like I don't know what.
Oh goodness, there's quite a lot of action going on everywhere on the track, it would seem. But at the moment, we're on board with Inman as he chases down his teammate.
Yeah, as up front we have Adrian Simon. I think that's fairly comfortable now, isn't it, for the Frenchman with, well, a lap to go.
Well, it would certainly seem that way, as Klaas van Snelheid quite a ways down the back straight and with a Phoenix between them. So,
yeah,
barring any last-minute incidents, this looks pretty set.
Yeah, it certainly does. I think there'll be... I think as the two Franklins now are wheel to wheel. Inman, he's got to run. Ruiz has covered the inside early. So what's going to... Let's say, you know, these cars are identical engines. Ruiz on the inside line. Inman can't make the outside work.
He's going to have one more shot at it, one more tour of the track.
Yeah, he certainly will. Be interesting to see. You'd imagine Inman's going to be desperate for this.
Oh, it's got to be. You had.
No, was that me or did he back out there? He was closing, but it sounded as though he just backed off the throttle.
It did sound as though he lifted a little bit, because the Franklin team currently 5th and 6th. That's a very useful haul of points that you don't want to throw away.
Yeah, although having started 1st and 3rd, I'm sure they won't be too impressed with that at all, to be honest.
I would have to agree with that.
Davenport seems to have slipped down the order a little. I'm just wondering if that's what those yellow flags are.
Quite possibly. But we've got Klaas van Snelheid has closed in on the back of that Salvarez there.
Yeah, so the Dutchman looking to relegate the Argentine another lap. But round the hairpin then comes Adrian Simon. He's, well, we thought for a while this might be under threat, but Simon has kept it under control beautifully. Round the final corner and crosses the line. Adrian Simon wins in China. It's a second victory in 3 races. Klaas van Snelheid is going to finish second. A fantastic recovery after picking up damage in an incident with Olin Inman earlier on. The two Franklins are side by side as Powers takes third. Ruiz is on the inside line, and I think he's going to hold Inman back. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Inman had been told to hold station. Kanga takes 4th. Ruiz and Inman will cross the line 5th and 6th. It's a strong double points finish for Franklin, but from 1st and 3rd, they will surely be disappointed. Giordano looks as though he's going to come home 7th for a fantastic recovery after being involved in an incident that wasn't his fault and losing his front wing. Matson 8th. Johan Halverson has got a massive gap behind him and is going to surely take North Star's first points in 9th place.
Well, Simon picking up the victory, but you've got to imagine without the incident with Van Snelheid and Inman, Klaas could really have given him a proper run for his money there.
Yeah, I think he very much could have done, but I don't know, Simon seemed to have it covered, didn't he?
Well, he definitely seemed to, just quietly going about his business and pumping in the laps when he needed to, and it's all come good in the end.
Yeah, brilliant, and Halverson does indeed take your team's first points of the season.
Well, that's good to open our account then.
Who would you say driver of the day?
That's a pretty tough question, but I think it's got to be Simon. Did not put a foot wrong.
I'm gonna give it to my own driver and be honest. I'm just gonna be that guy. I've got to give it to Klaas. I think that was a phenomenal drive and a brilliant recovery as well. But Giordano as well, right up there. It's tough between the two. But Adrian Simon is your winner today here in the 2018 Chinese V-Prix. So Adrian Simon tops the podium here in China then. Klaas van Snelheid with a brilliant drive back to 2nd place. Nathaniel Powers makes it 2 Downtons on the podium in 3rd. Kanga 4th ahead of Ruiz and Inman. Giordano with a fantastic drive back to 7th. And Johan Halverson with North Star's first points in 9th. The retirements at the bottom, both Meteors for the 2nd race in a row. and Will Hoskins, and Davenport did indeed retire late on with gearbox issues. In the Drivers' Championship, that win keeps Adrian Simon at the head of the table. He's 13 points ahead of Klaas van Shanghai now, who has jumped past Nathaniel Powers. Kanga has shot up to 4th, Ruiz has gained 2 places to 7th, but he would expect to be an awful lot higher than there after 3 races this season. Osberger's gained 3 places as well, he's up to 16th, and Perez has gone past his teammate and Kovalenko in the Championship too. In the Constructors, there are no movements after this race. At the top, DS Mathershall's gap back to Downton is 5 points. Franklin are nearly a full 1-2 off the lead of the Championship already. But that's all from our race here today in Shanghai. So from both me and Nick, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time for round 4 from Sepang, Malaysia.